Hello, I'm Doug DeWitt, Transfer Paper Product Manager here at Condi Systems.
Hi, I'm Christopher Siegmann from Forever Transfer Paper Germany.
And we're here today to demonstrate a new software product that has been developed by Forever Paper. We referenced it in a previous video. We were able to produce this size graphic off of this 711 WT printer. How did we do it? With their brand new software package called IC Split, which basically allows you to take a graphic, split it in a manner that you can tile the graphic so we can create a giant design from a small printer. Chris, can you take a couple of seconds just to explain how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at this design over here, this could either be two 1117 sheets out of the Pro 8432 or four 8.511 sheets. And what the software does, it looks for natural contours in the actual design. For example, in this case, we cut once through here, we cut another time through here, and instead of avoiding straight through it, it follows a contour pattern. So it's like a zigzag line. When you tie them together afterwards on the shirt, you will not be able to see a straight line because there is no straight line.
And part of the secret is, since we're using the Forever Low Temp Laser Dark, with it being a transparent A-foil sheet, it's easy for us to align these panels together to create one giant graphic.
Absolutely.
Well, a couple of quick questions that I have regarding the software. We can use this software as a standalone product, correct?
You can.
Okay.
It works on a PC, it works also on a Mac, there's a Mac version available. And it will basically just cut your image. You can use it for sublimation, you can use it for laser transfers, you can use it to produce art. It's up to you what you do with it.
Interesting. Whenever we bring a graphic into the program, is there a specific file format we need to use?
The software likes PNG files, it also works with JPEGs, TIFF files, so every pixelated graphic.
Okay. And as far as the graphic is concerned, do we need to bring in a certain resolution in order to get a good result?
300 dpi is recommended. 150 dpi can work depending on the graphic. The better your graphic is, the better will be your result. Remember, you size a small graphic usually to a big graphic, so make sure that the resolution is not too low.
Well, if you don't mind, I would really love to see this software in action. Do you think you can show us on your laptop how it works?
Yes, absolutely, no problem. Let's hook it up. So here we see the IC Split. This is the standard screen when you start the software. On the right hand side, the bigger area over here, this is where our image will be shown later on. On the left hand side, we can browse our files. We can either work with only PNG files, or we can work with all supported file formats, which are usually TIFFs, JPEGs, and PNGs, and we can scroll it down. For example, we can work, we get a little preview over here, we can work with that graphic over there, or a little bit better graphic to explain you what the software does would be my cat. Let me just jump right into it. Here, I call it the Psycho Cat. You double click it, and it appears in the middle of the screen. Here on the left hand side, you will see the full image size. So right now this image is 13 by 11 inches big. Let's say we want to scale it a little bit up, like 14.5 inches, for example. So now we have an image that's 16.3 by 14.5 inches big. So when we look at an 1117 sheet, we might have to cut it off. So a good way to cut it would be, for example, with 15 inches. So we get it a little bit bigger, and we have now 16.86 inches in the width and 15 in height. When we now look at our different page sizes, we have 15 height, and each individual page size is 8.85 inches. And we can change that as we like to. Do you see these two bars in the middle?
I do.
So we can change them and move them to the side.
And why would we do that, Chris?
Because the bigger the corridor is, the better the software works. For example, let me just move it completely to the side. So in between this corridor, these are the shared page sizes. One page is from here up to this line, and one page is from this line up to here, to that end. This in the middle is the shared page size. The wider it is, the more option has the program to cut. When you go very close to each other, for example over here and over there, you will force the program to cut through a solid area, which will be very visible when you piece it up together. When you can avoid solid areas, like over here, you might have a better chance to get a perfect result.
I understand. So when you're setting these lines to determine where IC split will essentially cut the graphic, do we need to make sure that both the left side and the right side stay within the parameters of the sheet size we're going to run through the printer?
Absolutely. When you just want to cut it once, stay within the parameters of the sheet size. In that case, we're deciding for 1117 on our Oki Pro 8432. So we have 15 height and 10 inches in the width. We have maximum 11 inches. We have to deduct a little bit for cutting and weeding the sheet. Also, the printer cannot print completely to the end of the page. So we have to work with a little margin. Usually you work with ½ an inch. That's good enough.
I see. So I notice with this particular graphic, we essentially have a square graphic.
We have a square graphic in this case.
But if we had, let's say, like a longer rectangle graphic, I notice here that we can rotate the graphic within the program.
Absolutely, we can do that also over here. Let's say we want to avoid to cut through the eye. We can also cut through here.
Ah.
So in this case, we have, let's just make this a little bit bigger. So we have 2 times roughly 9 to 17 inches graphic, which is also possible. So it depends on you, how would you like to work. When you want to try to avoid to cut the solid areas, you can cut it this way, or you can cut it this way. Let me just set this one up for you. So about 10 inches here, and about 10 inches here. When we are happy with our corridor, we say split on the split button, and it asks us an important question. Because this is important because on the transfer rib later on, we can take out parts of the image. For example, when we put it on a dark garment, we take out the blacks out of the image with transfer rib. The same goes for light garments. Let's say we put it on a dark garment, it tries to avoid the solid light colored areas and cut preferably through solid dark areas because these won't be printed later on.
I see.
So when I revert this, you can see the cut goes through here, sees the contour of the eye and avoids it. And in between here we have little black lines running, and those will be deleted later on. So we split it for dark garment, and it does the cut preferably through these areas.
So it's important to let the IC split program know our ultimate intention of where the graphic is going to go, whether it's a dark background or light background.
Exactly. When it's not neither dark or light, you have other material, so it tries to find a middle way. When we're happy with it, we're going to go to Save As. Then we're going to save it either as a PDF file, or we can save it as a PNG. A PDF file will create just one file with 2 pages, which makes it more convenient to work with transcript later on. And a PNG file gives you 2 outputs, one left part marked with an L, one right part marked with an R at the end. And we can work further with these parts. Let me just show you what it does. So I'm gonna revert this one and discard it. And let me show the pre-cut over here. So I double click it, and we have our cut over here that we have pre-done. In this case, we rotate it again and decide for a new corridor and split it again for a dark garment, and we have a new cut. Now we have 4 pieces. We do this for the other part as well.
All right, so when you split, let's say, a graphic into 2 pieces, then you take one of those pieces and split it again.
Exactly.
Notice that when it's saved as a PNG, it's saved as a left side and a right side. Does it give you another designation to know which is the top left and which is the bottom left?
No, it saves it again just as left and left right. But the foil is see-through. It's a clear film, so it's really easy to position it afterwards.
But basically, it's giving you an indication letting you know that a split graphic has been split again.
Yes, it does it.
Interesting.
Let me just show you another graphic. Just go a little bit down here. With this one over here. I double click it. So this is our new graphic. As you can see, here in the full image size, this graphic is very big. We have 45 to 62 inches, so we better scale it down a little bit. I scale it down now to 16 inches height, and it automatically converts the width to 11.7 inches, which gives us right now an individual page size of 16 inches height and 6.5 inches width.
Now a question for you, Chris. Since we are working with a bitmap graphic, if we scale the program down in the IC Split software, it will increase the resolution of that graphic overall, just like with any other bitmap graphic software program, correct?
Yes, exactly, because we're working here with pixelated graphics and pixelated files, not a vector file, so it won't calculate new, it will either increase or decrease the resolution.
So it's important to have a target resolution when you bring the file into IC Split. So if we scale down, we should be fine. But if you scale up, you might lose some resolution because increasing the size.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I just set up the page width a little bit wider, so we give the program a little bit more room to play. And as this picture is basically a mirror image, one mirror over here, one mirror over here in the vertical, we just give it a split for dark garment again. This file is a little bit bigger, so it will also take a little bit longer to split this file. So have a little bit patience with me.
So Chris, if you have a big image like this and it takes a few minutes for the IC Split program to basically rip the program, it basically lets us know that it depends on the processing speed and memory capability of your PC or your Mac, correct?
Absolutely. We do recommend a minimum RAM of 3.5 gigabytes and a 2.5 gigahertz processor clocking. So it's Intel i5 usually.
Okay, so you basically an i5 processor or better should be able to handle the attributes of the program. So a question, if we scale a bitmap within the program, will it affect the resolution of the graphic?
Yes, when you scale it down, because it's a JPEG file or it's a bitmap file, it's pixelated, it increases the resolution when you scale it down, or decrease the resolution when you scale it up.
Okay. And I noticed that we could save the file as a PNG. Now, if we're going to a dark garment, we want to save as a PNG with a transparent background, correct?
Yes. When your input file doesn't have a background, it won't have a background after you save it.
Okay. So in other words, if we select that it's going to a white or light color garment, then there might be a white background associated if we save it as a PDF?
No, not even.
Okay.
It depends completely on the input material. When your input doesn't have a background at all, it won't create a background.
So basically, if we tell IC Split program that we're going to a dark garment, it will save that graphic without a background so we can easily incorporate it into the transfer rip, let's say, and go from there?
Yes, exactly. The only barrier is when you work with a JPEG file as an input file, this JPEG file will always have a white background.
Okay.
So you have to remove it and save it as a PNG when it's important that you take out the background.
And when you save these files, I'm assuming like any graphic program, it'll allow you to determine the file location to save?
Yes, absolutely. You can, over here, you can either save it as in the input or the output file. So the output file will be the same as the input file, or you can save it individually.
Okay, interesting. So basically, once we have our graphic split, then we're sending the individual splits to our white toner printer to produce the tiles that we need to panel and put together our giant graphic.
Exactly. So let me save this as a PDF file. Fashion, and let's make it 8.5 times 17, because that's the paper size we're using later on.
Okay.
And I'll save it over here and bring it into the RIP. So let me just jump over here in the RIP. And there's our file. We saved it as a PDF, and we have two pages over here. That's the left part, that's the right part. To work with it, just click on it, and we get a page preview over here. Let's say we want to check if there's a background. We can go to substrate color and put any background color in there. Let's say, for example, black. And then we see if there's a background or not, just to make sure.
Gotcha.
When there would be a white background, we would just see a black bar up here, a black bar down here, and the rest would be white. So next step, really important is when you work with the transfer rib that you click the Preserve Partial Transparency button that you have in every newer transfer rib version. As soon as you click this, it removes white outlines in the middle of the image, so your transfers later on when you piece them together will be seamless.
I understand.
And then over here you just go to your transfer rib, either screening from printer, screening for dark media, depending on what you kind of output you would like to have. Let's say for dark media, mask 25, 37.5 angle, Euclidean dot shape. We mirror it, we want 2 copies, and then we can print it.
Okay, so even though we are splitting a graphic into 2 pieces or multiple pieces, when we do ultimately send these pieces to the printer and we print the Forever Low Temp Laser Dark, we want to make sure to mirror or reverse all of those graphics.
Exactly. Also an important point is when you raster one half of it, the other half should have the same raster settings. You can make sure that you do that while saving the settings. So you can save this actual setting, give it a name like Fashion Left Half, save it, and let's just change it a little bit. Make it here 40, we make it, instead of Euclideans, we make lines. We go back, and we work with the other half. We go further, partial transparency is ticked, that's important. Now we have the changed settings in the rib, like bright media, mask 40, line, and so on. And to get exactly the same setting as in the left half, we just go load printer settings, fashion left half, select, and everything is as the other half is.
I see. So it is important to basically remember your settings as you are printing out these individual panels.
Exactly. And the load and save settings function in the transfer rib is very useful for that. So let me print this out, and let me press the one t-shirt.
Fantastic. Love to see it.
Okay, we have now prepared our 2 pages. We have both pages already the adhesive applied, so it's weeded. So the first thing we're going to make is we place both pages onto our garment, just to give it a rough positioning. We have here our neck, so we have it centered. We move it a little bit further down from the neck, and we just want to make sure that it's straight the way it is. The reason why we're doing this with 2 pages is when we just have 1 page, and this is maybe slightly off, we might not see it on the 1 page, but as soon as we add the other page, we see how off it is.
Okay, so one little mistake laying down the first panel may compound once we try to put the second panel down.
Especially when you work with 4 tiles or 6 tiles, and the bigger you go, the more important is that you take care of these little disbalances.
Question for you.
Yes.
Once you have your panels positioned on your fabric the way you want them to lay out, should you go through a step of using something maybe like heat-resistant tape to secure the graphic as we panel out?
Yes, the first page is not so important because this will stick as it is. So we have a little bit playing room. But for the second page, it makes absolutely sense to work with heat tape just to fix it.
I understand.
So we have given it our position like so. We can't press both pages down at the same time because we have an overlap over here. So we're going to take 1 page down and press it down.
Now here we're just following the recommended time, temperature, and pressure settings with the Forever Low Temp Laser Dark based on the material content that we're decorating.
Exactly. So it's a little bit more work than just using an 1117 printer, but when you just have the 8.5 11 size or 8.5 17 size available, this could be a nice, interesting alternative to go.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to remind people that they should always check condi.com or contact their account manager for the latest instructions when we're dealing with Forever Paper products.
Great. So this needs to cool down, so I take it off the heat press, put it onto our table, weed it out, and we're going to press the next one. So now we have the first image applied. It's not finished yet. We can finish it when we like to, but that's not necessary. So now we have the second page. And here we just line it up. When we line it up, we work with, I would call them fixed points. One would be over here, the zebra. We just make sure that it's nice and leveled up. And the other one would be the other zebra. So over here. So this is centered. This is centered. The text looks fine. The text looks fine over here. The text looks good. So everything is in line.
So we're basically putting this together almost like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, almost like a jigsaw puzzle with transparent paper. We fix it with some heat tape so it can't move. Important here is that we cover this part of the print up to break from the heat press. So we cover the complete thing with a parchment paper or a Teflon sheet.
So having parchment paper or Teflon sheets or silicone sheets, it's going to be important if we're using the IC split software and we're creating multiple panels to decorate one item.
Absolutely. Especially when you go with really large prints, make sure you have enough parchment paper available. So, we lift this up. Looks great to me. Let's see how it looks like when we peel it off. So, our transfer paper is cold now, so it's ready to peel. Remember, in the last tip video, roll it towards you in a flat angle.
So if you've aligned your two prints, you should barely even, I'm not even going to say barely even notice a seam. You shouldn't even really see a seam if you've put your jigsaw pieces together correct.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So make sure that you don't have a gap in between or that you don't overlap it too much. Just make sure you line it exactly next to each other.
So once we have all of our panels down and we've created our complete design, we still want to do the finishing press
Absolutely.
overall.
So this section over here, the left-hand side, was in the machine twice, so this is finished, but this is not. And it doesn't affect it if you finish it twice or three times.
Okay, so basically we're going to cover the whole design
And
with our non-stick silicone or either our matte paper or our gloss paper, and we're going to refinish the whole design.
Exactly. Let me just put it back into the press and give it a matte finish.
Wow, Chris, this is absolutely fantastic. Basically, we created a tabloid print with a letter size printer where you cannot see the seam in this graphic thanks to that IC split software.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not just the limit. You can go unlimitedly big. The only thing that matters is how big is the printer. With an 8432 it's a bit easier because you can work with 1117 and create basically 20 to 40 inches prints when you like to.
So we can work with any Oki platform size, whether it's a letter size printer or a tabloid printer.
Yep.
When we can also work with things like the new Neon printer, so we can create tabloid or tabloid plus designs with that new Neon printer, even though it's only an A-size platform.
Absolutely. What's also a pretty nice idea, one of my clients told me he used the Neon printer and instead of printing t-shirts, he's printing art for bars.
Fantastic.
So printing on a canvas, just huge prints, utilizes the 8.517 sheet size of the 6.410.
So basically, as long as you bring in a good resolution graphic, no matter what size that graphic is, we can effectively split that graphic up and print it with our white toner system using this IC split software.
Yes, that's the case.
Well, fantastic. So let's say for the sake of argument, our Condi TV viewers are interested in this product, but they want to try it out. What would be your call to action? What do they need to do to test this product?
They simply need to contact their Condi product manager, ask for information about the trial version. They can send you the details. There's a free trial available for unlimited time. The only point is it has watermarks, like grid lines on it.
So yes, even though it will have the watermarks if we try to output, basically you can download a demo or trial version of this program and play with all the features and functions, but as we saw through your demonstration, it's actually pretty easy to use.
It is. It took me like 1 or 2 trials to learn it. It's super simple.
So remember, you can request a demo copy of IC Split through your Condi Systems account manager. Just contact them direct at 1-800-826-6332. Also, we hope to bring aboard a few more videos in our series on the IC Split, where we'll do some interesting products and some projects, so to speak, to teach you how to utilize this software. But I'm glad Christopher from Forever was here to show us the basics on how it works.
It's my pleasure.
So remember to keep tuning in to Condi TV for more instructional and tutorial videos on this and other Forever Paper products. But until next time, I'm Doug DeWitt.
I'm Christopher Siegmann.
Our time is up. We thank
See
you
you
for
next
yours.
time.